Tim, we'll be okay.
We're starting right now, folks. Back again.
Hey.
It is
Tim.
March 15th. We got a great show for you guys. Again, Dula's joining us back. He's not calling in. He's actually on the show for today. What's good, Dula? What's going? What's popping?
What's good? What's good? What's good?
Well, we got Tim again. We got Fogmay again. Dula and John. Let's go.
Hold on. I'm wearing a Cowboys hat and I got a Cowboys flag behind me. Let me put away my chicken breast to the side.
Oh, dear.
1 second.
Here we go.
All right. Okay, we're gonna start off, fellas, with the Houston Texans. Was they smart by trading Brock Osweiler to the Cleveland Browns and also giving them a second-round pick? I'm gonna say my answer is no, not at the moment. Right now, it's not a to me. It wasn't a smart thing because who's their quarterback? Who they thought was supposed to be their quarterback at this time by free agency. Right now, you got Tom Savage on the rosters and Brandon Weeden. So, I mean, I understand you gave away a cat by giving Brock Osweiler away, and you gave the Browns a second-round pick. But why did you go into the season with Savage and Weeden and probably a draft pick? It doesn't make sense for a playoff team.
Timmy, I like this move, man. I like this a lot by the Browns organization. You know why? Because they got the biggest pot at the poker table right now, and they're not afraid to play with their money. They're like scared money don't make money. And being able to deal just a fourth rounder while getting a second and a sixth, when you're acquiring Brock, okay, we all get it, the huge cap of 16 mil. But get this, they get to cut him next season with no penalty. And another thing that a lot of people aren't taking into consideration because it's not being brought up as much is they're obviously not going on with RG3. He's gone. That frees up 7 mil. So in essence, this really makes it like a 9 mil bargain really that they just made for Osweiler for a second rounder. And I can assure you that they're really not going to, they now have the cap space, 10 mil. It clears up for the Texans to go after Tony Romo. But for the Browns, they're not in a win-now mode. They're just really trying to build up through the drafts right now. So they don't need to worry about a QB at this time and point. And they can just worry in 2018 and maybe 2019 when the draft class for quarterback is much better than this year's, for damn certain.
I thought it was a good move overall. I thought it was a good move for both sides. I mean, listen. It's no secret that when Bill O'Brien his first year, like they took Tom Savage in the third round. I still think, for whatever reason, Bill O'Brien thinks Tom Savage is his guy. And the whole Brock thing was to make a big splash and didn't work because, frankly, Brock Osweiler isn't good, right? From the Browns standpoint, like you said, they have a crap load of money. So it's like, well, gee, we'll absorb the contract, and I've heard we'll even cut the guy in a few weeks. We don't really need him. We just wanted the pick. They essentially bought a draft pick, and if you have the money to do so, I don't blame you. So I'm totally fine with the move. I think one thing to keep in mind, though, is you're right. It puts Houston in kind of a position where they have to have a solution right now at quarterback. Right, you sign a guy to this contract, you move him a year later. You got to do that with some sort of long-term planning. Whether that's Tony Romo, whether they like someone in this draft class, maybe it's Tom Savage. Cleveland, on the other hand, doesn't. They have no worries. They can go 2-14 next season. It's no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Fogs?
I don't see a problem with it either. I think they're on the clock, like Bill said. They, you don't have that many draft picks. I think they're down to 6 this season. I think they got 6 or the minimum 7 next season. So you don't have a quarterback. Tom Savage, is he the answer? I don't know. Normally, out of every draft, you get about 2 to 4 quarterbacks that are serviceable starters in the NFL. And that seems to be consistent through and through. And if you look at the draft that he came out of for Houston. Tom Savage. You got Bortles, Carr, Manziel, Bridgewater, Garoppolo, and AJ McCarron. So realistically, there's really it's Savage. Can he be a serviceable starter? I don't know. Right now, Carr seems to be the star out of that draft. McCarron's still a backup. Bortles might as well be a backup. Manziel's drunk somewhere.
Bridgewater may never play again.
Yeah, that's true too. Bridgewater may never play, and Garoppolo's a backup as of right now too. So I think they made a smart move. And I think Bill O'Brien has the confidence enough in his coaching ability to at least make Savage serviceable. I mean, Houston's done serviceable really well. If they don't make the move and get Romo in there, I guess serviceable is what it's going to be until they pull something off in the next year or two.
So that means that we might be seeing a type of trade where they might bite the bullet and send a draft pick or whatever it is for Tony Romo. If not,
I don't think they will because Denver. Listen, Denver's not a team. I don't believe Denver's front office. I don't believe Denver's coaching staff. I don't believe John Elway believes this is a team that is a quarterback away from going to the Super Bowl. I think that it's a false narrative that Denver is a quarterback away from going to the Super Bowl. They got some problems there on the defensive line that they haven't addressed, and they got some problems at the running back because of injuries and the way Booker and C.J. Anderson played. There's no consistency there. So, and I also believe they're sold on Paxton Lynch. To see that through and develop that team, to be a contender maybe 2 or 3 years down the road.
Yeah. So as much as I'm sure you'd like to think a trade is imminent here, Tim. Who is Houston bidding against? Themselves? Who else are they bidding against? They're not bidding against Denver because listen, last season there was a smoke and mirrors of Colin Kaepernick, and what happened with that? Absolutely nothing. Right?
Well,
Denver's good at this. They're very good at the whole smoke and mirrors game. Seems like every other year, there's this veteran quarterback. He's going to Denver. Listen, I don't see it. They spent a first rounder on Paxton Lynch. Unlike Tim Tebow, this is a John Elway move. So, there's no real reason for them to acquire Tony Romo to be 10-6 again and be second or third place in that division.
Right. Well, I won't say it's really to be 10-6. My thing is let's see how much faith they have in their current quarterbacks right now going forward. Because I'll say this, and I'm don't get me wrong. I get what you guys are saying. You guys are not wrong what you're saying. But my thing is this: in April, the players start to report to their team, get their playbooks, their weigh-ins, their assignments. Especially if you want a new quarterback, you want your quarterback to have some type of relationship with the players. You know how to, listen, perfect example. If Romo was to go on to Texas, you want him and Hopkins and Miller and Fedorowicz, the tight ends, those guys to get in cahoots. You don't want no quarterback coming in June, missing April, missing minicamp in May. You understand? You don't want no. It won't work. So especially if the Texans are saying, well, we don't want to trade for Romo, they want to wait till he gets released. So that means you're standing there with the clock. All I got to say is this, Houston. There's no hurry to release Tony Romo because it's not like the Cowboys get any type of major cap space to make any type of moves. In June, once they release Romo June 1st, and June 2nd, they'll get $14 million. That's June 1st. You should want your quarterback in by April. But what you guys are saying is all correct. Browns did a good job in taking the Brock Osweiler in the draft pick as well. But let's go on to the Jordan Cameron comment about players, NFL players who don't really like football. Josh, I'll tell you this. Just me recently reading this. That's all the time. Some of these players are just doing it for money. Some players have no heart to want to win a championship. Some players just got to sign this with a big payday, and that's just the way it. That's just the way it is. But this is something like where teams gotta be careful on what type of player they want. Do you want a type of player that is just here to sign that big contract, or do you want the type of player that he's a gym rat? He's here all the time. He may want to be more than just a player. He want to be part of the organization. Those are the type of guys that I would like.
Yeah, exactly. Just to touch up on those comments, for those that didn't hear it from Jordan Cameron himself, he's now retired, obviously, because he has so many concussion issues. But he stated he doesn't think a lot of these guys love football, to be honest, said Cameron. A lot of them don't. You play for other reasons, and every guy has their own reason. They know why, and as long as your why is really important, you keep playing without really loving football. Because really, who loves to get hit in a 10-degree weather by a 280-pound person? Really, no one likes that. Do you love football? I couldn't stand when people ask me that. He said, there's a few guys that love it. Ray Lewis loves football. Peyton Manning, they love it, said Cameron. But a lot of guys don't really love this game, and there are players that will need this who will understand exactly what I'm talking about. No, I mean, it's so easy to be on the outside looking in the league and just, judging these players, asking yourself and your friends, like, why are these guys so whiny? They make a meal to work out, catch a ball, run routes, go to a meeting and laugh all day in the locker room. Like, why are they complaining? But it's the same thing as our lives. Just because we don't make a meal or get guaranteed money like these athletes do, some of us are stuck in a job or a 9-to-5 just because we couldn't find anything else or nothing else interested us, or really it's the only thing that really fell into our lap or was in our path, at that time and point. Sometimes it happens with these athletes. Sometimes these athletes don't get the education. Maybe it's the only thing they really know how to do because of their build and their God-given talents and their stature and frame and everything like that. And then they're just told to go down this route because of, their size, their stature, and what they're going to grow up to be, and their freakish athletics and their tangibles and everything like that. And sometimes, they go down that path not really loving it, but because they know they can get paid going down that road. I mean, it's the world we live in. You're always going to be in an organization or an occupation that people either really love the job and they work their ass off for it, and you're going to have those people that just try to get by. They just come in with their lunch bag and just try not to get fired for the day.
Right.
Well, let me ask you guys this: did any of you grow up playing sports of any sort?
Yeah, soccer mostly for me.
Of course.
Yeah, I played football and ran track.
Football. I have to admit, I did not have any team spirit. I was like, fuck that. And I had
language, please. Language.
And I was so athletic, and be like, why don't you play sports? Like, nah, I'm good.
Well, I mean, I played football, basketball, and I played baseball too. So if you look at these guys, some of these guys have been playing football since they were 5 years old. Through Pop Warner, through middle school, through high school, through college, professional. Now, that's a big thing to get from there to there, but understand the context too. When you're playing Pop Warner football, you're competitive, but it's a game. Well, high school football is competitive, but it's a game. You play Division I football, it's very competitive now, but it's a game. You become a professional athlete now. This is your job. So the idea of loving it is almost gone away because now your whole life is football. When you were in college, you quote unquote still went to class and you still did other things, right? Now you're 9 to 5, in fact, longer than that for the whole is football. Whether it's lifting, whether it's reading a playbook, whether it's sitting in film. And listen, some of these guys, high school didn't watch film. College, depending on where it was, didn't really watch film. Now they're watching film 5 hours a week. Doesn't sound like a lot, but after you do it enough, you get tired of it. If you really don't love the game. So the guy's a player himself. I don't see anything controversial with it. I don't think it's to the level that people would take from that. I think there's more than just your Peyton Mannings and your Ray Lewises of the world who love football. I'm sure there are practice squad guys who love it. I mean, frankly, you kind of gotta love it to basically be a tackling dummy for, even if it's for $400,000 a year, be a tackling dummy basically to get rocked in practice. It's a lot of money, but still it's a lot of wear and tear. I think what's happening now is that now that we understand more about the physical effects of football and how some of these guys have 10-year careers and have nothing really show for it after the fact. That's why I'm so adamant about Tony Romo just walking away, because the guys are hit away from being really hurt. And I think this piggybacks off of that. Like, how could you love that? How could you love that reality? Even with your millions of dollars.
I can see why people could love that reality, because some people, they just built like a gladiator. I mean, some people just born in the wrong time in the wrong era. But I can also understand the other side of things that, you know, when what's his name? Damn it. Was it Bennett who got, broke his leg bone, and he was all talking about, retiring. I mean, I could feel that. I mean, it's your job. People like, well, you have to, your chance of a lifestyle, just heal up and get back on the court. Yeah, you go break your bones and say the same thing as well. So, yeah, there's those two sides of the story.
Well, I think this is, I mean, I don't think this is anything new. I think it's just more out there, like Dilla said, with everything that you know now about the after effects of the game. But I'm more than confident that there were people playing it back in the day that didn't love it, but they were good at it. So you're doing something that you're good at. It's just that simple. Listen, I don't love my job, but when I go in there, you can't tell the difference. I'm a damn good actor. I probably should have chose a different profession. Maybe I would have won an Oscar. But they sell it well. They do it well. They know they do it well. And hey, you don't love it. That's fine. But you're loving the money that's coming in. You're loving the lifestyle that it brings at the end of the day. And you sit back and you weigh out the options. Do I love football? No, but it's paying the bills. I'm doing it. Just like Josh said, it's like any other job. It's just a more high-profile job, high-paying job. I don't think Jordan Cameron said anything that's damning to the NFL that we really didn't know and probably hasn't been going on for however many years. Even when Jim Brown was playing, for Christ's sake, these guys were playing football. That was their big payday, and then going in the off season and working another job to keep the money coming in.
Right.
Might be a little bitterness too on his part, since he kind of declined after leaving the Browns. Never really amounted to what he was supposed to after he got that big contract, So that's kind of what I think too. It's a little bit, he's kind of being honest, but at the same time, I think he's kind of bitter with how his career ended at the same time.
But there's another thing also that, I mean, us, the panel here, we are kind of open-minded. There's a lot of people that they see, the TV show on HBO, Ballers. They see the athletes, energetic before and after the game because the adrenaline's pumping. I mean, even if you didn't like the job, I mean, your adrenaline's pumping, you're going to be animated. And people outside, they see that, like, everybody's having a great time. How can you not love this? And there's a lot of people who they don't have that perspective to understand that just because it's flashy, they're celebrities, they're athletes, they look like they're hype all the time. You watch drama TV shows like Ballers, you think it's a grand old time, is a happy day year day in, day out. Not necessarily. Everybody always have a cross to carry in life. So.
Well, that's for two reasons, Sean. One, they were failed athletes when they were in school. Two, they're not happy with their lives, and they're seeing somebody making money and going, basically hating. Well, yeah, what's he complaining about? He's got $1 million home. I live in a shack. Well, you should have done better. Shit.
Well, yeah. I mean,
well, also it's like, he has $1 million. He's also getting rocked every Sunday. He's also getting rocked every day in practice, right. Taking hits, giving hits, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, do you really want to live that life?
I mean, you can get injured. I mean,
no, listen, man.
People get really hurt,
I always go with the quote Marion Barber, former Cowboy player, always said, "Do what you love what you do." At the same time, you want to walk away from the game at your own power, not let the game take you out. So, listen, you like it, you love it. It is what it is. That's it.
Yep. I mean, on that note, I guess we can move on to the next down, fellas. We'll be right back.